Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War, Tarl, Dark, and Gruesome event in which the Umbral Giant is added to the game. Also, happy Halloween everyone, as is finally Halloween, or at least later today anyways. But anyways, let's start getting into all of the things going on in Gems of War this week, starting off with the brand new troop. Also, as you guys probably knew, with the other week, the Drocksmith was kind of a bit glitched, and this one was actually out a little bit early. It seems to be a problem that will likely be fixed on next patch. Next patch is no confirmed date, but is very likely to be on November 8th, and will end up being basically setting all the 8-year anniversary stuff into motion, as well as hot fixing some things, and who knows whatever else they're doing with it. So that should be fixed then. So oddly enough, you can still get Drocksmith from last week if you want to go get it. Aside from that, we got Umbral Giant. This is the new troop that ended up coming in this week. Great time to stock up on brown, purple arcanes. As far as this troop is concerned, is definitely more usable than the other giants of the same category. However, it suffers from the exact same issues in that it tends to give the enemy mana a lot of times. It tends to require too much alignment and not get enough value when it finally does get alignment. And overall is probably a troop you're not going to use, but of the 6 troops in this category, or 7 if you count the Uber Doom Skull one, it is probably the second best one, only below, of course, the Skull one that is really, really decent, that we went over in another video that we just posted a little bit earlier. But anyways, as far as this troop is concerned, it does a bit of damage to an enemy, converts 5 greens to brown giant gems. So if it gets alignment there, quite a bit of brown mana accumulation. However, there are a lot of situations where it just doesn't. A pretty noteworthy thing, it actually is stealthy, so it will end up getting targeted directly. That's one nice thing that it has kind of going for it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any kind of like score reduction or anything else to kind of go with that, because some kind of like 50% score reduction stealthy into that could have kind of been okay. Unfortunately, not exactly what it got. Overall, it's just a troop you're probably not really using. It's a utility troop that could be used, but there's just other things that do it better, and you likely will just have it upgraded and kind of just have it sit forever, as a lot of those giants are going to end up doing. Anyways, as far as the event key drop table this week, it is for Nexus. Nexus is a rather interesting one, as it is the second most recent kingdom ever added to the game, only behind that of Hellcrag, which is the most recent one. Nexus troops are kind of bad, however, unlike Hellcrag that has a pretty decent amount of them. So everything that you see here is what is considered Nexus troops. However, 5 of these are not in the drop table. Those 5 include the Lovers, that is only in the Vault Key drop table, and the 4 from the faction, the Umbral Nexus faction. Everything else that you see here is in drop table. As far as opening event keys this week, I would probably pass. There's nothing that's must-have. It's a very average kingdom as far as the options that are here. There's not even too many things to pull. The only reason why you might want to end up opening up event keys this week is primarily because of getting kingdom stars. So if you haven't already picked up 10 Kingdom Stars or even 5 Kingdom Stars, you get additional armor. So you get additional armor at 5, additional armor at 10. And that's pretty much the main reason why you'd bother opening up event keys this week, is if you want to hit either of those milestones. Really good with Rowan team or anything else that ends up boostering off of armor. And just nice to have a little bit of extra durability. But besides from that, I really wouldn't bother opening event keys for any other reason, as that's pretty much the only value. There's also only one mythic that you can possibly get, and it's not even that good of one. So pretty skippable event key drop table unless you're just looking for kingdom upgrading purposes. As far as the Ward event is concerned this week, it is both a very easy to understand and very hard to understand scoring. The best way to break this down is if you are doing tier 3 or lower, as in you're just going to the shop, buying 0 tiers, 1 tier, 2 tiers, 3 tiers, basically doing the bare minimum to help your guild get the event done. If that is what you're doing, simply just do rarity order. That's all you need to do. Every time you see a mythic, take mythic, then legends, then epics. If you are looking to make leaderboard, however, or just to score a very high amount of points, you do not want to do that. You want to basically take every single one of the circles. The circles have scaling. These are Zephyrus, the Mirrored Queen, and Ishtara. All 3 of these, which apparently is also, technically all 4 of these, or the ones that we have here, but all 3 of those specific rooms, Zephyrus, the Mirrored Queen, and Ishtara, will end up scaling their points over time. And if you're taking a small amount of them, like if you're just doing, bare minimum to help out your guild, this isn't too big a deal. However, if you're looking to make leaderboard buying like tier 4 or deeper, you will always want to prioritize circles. Essentially, what you want to do is prioritize circles over everything, and then do rarity order. So if you see a circle, take a circle, and from there do rarity order. Otherwise, if you're just doing the basic low amount, anywhere from like tier 0 to tier 3, simply just do rarity order and you'll be perfectly fine. But do make sure to take these circles if you're going any deeper than that, as all 3 of these circles will end up scaling their amount of points over time, and that amount of points, if you're going for deep leaderboard or something similar, will outweigh taking rarity order. So that's basically what you need to do for the event. A little bit confusing, but For most people, just do rarity order, you'll be fine. Anyways, next up, all the other things we have going on this week. Of course, we do still have the Lost Souls of Cremina event. This is the last week to get it done. If you haven't already been, make sure to be doing your 3 daily battles. On top of that, you can also spend 50 gems every single day in order to get additional rewards. I already got Cremina and Witch Armor, currently working up to get the Kitty all the way max. Of course, we got the 1 guarantee copy, and you can get the other 30 to get it maxed from here. And then the only other thing I'd really need to get is Power Orb. Then with any excess, we'll get the food. And if you had super excess, you technically could go for the trait stones. However, the pet food would definitely be better as far as its overall value compared to the other one. And yeah, you still have another week for that. Make sure to be doing that every day. Throw down to 50 extra gems every single day if you're looking to try to get all the rewards. And if you think you're going to be a little bit short, maybe throw 100 on some of the days as well. Maybe if you missed a few days or just want to get a few extra points in to get the main rewards. As the main rewards that you want to pick up are 1, which is armor, as we have no clue when this will be returning. 1 Cremina, and then use a blue orb and you're good to go. You do not need to buy the other 2. 5 copies of the cat. This will max out the cat. And if you're interested in the achievement, 1 orb of power. And then with any excess, you could go for the food if you so choose. Cremina will be available into the future in about 4 to 6 weeks from now in Glory Gem Guild and VIP chests. So if you want to skip on that, you can simply just get her from chests into the future. This kitty will be in the drop table for pet gnomes as well. And while it is very annoying to end up getting it through that, you also get 1 guarantee copy just for logging in. So you probably already have it. So if you only care about having the pets, you could also skip on that technically, which would make the highest priority definitely getting Witcher's Armor, as we have no clue when that's coming back. And if you care about the achievement, getting the Orb of Power, as the first Orb of Power that you craft in one of these events will end up triggering a achievement. Plus, you got an Orb of Power, which is progress towards Zugoff and or Enraged Karandera if you don't have them already. Zugoff being the first priority, and then Enraged Karandera being the second one, and then every Power Orb you get from there being kind of useless until they add more content to the game that use Power Orbs. But yeah, make sure to finish out that event, as this is the final week to get it completed. Aside from that, other things that we have going on this week. This Tuesday, we're going to be having the faction event for the Nexus, Umbral Nexus, which of course is associated to that of the Nexus faction. Wednesday, we're going to be having the Moist Owlette. This is a elemental bonus. It is one of only a few types in the game that have a double bonus, the other one being the Caterpillar, Magma Caterpillar, or whatever it's called. So elementals, with how strong they already are, get even more of a buff having 2 different pets that end up buffing whenever you have 3 or 4 elemental on your team. So that's great, making elemental teams even more broken than they already are. Thursday, speaking of broken things, we have arguably the strongest hero class in the entire game, Elementalist. A lot of you probably have already maxed this hero class. However, if you haven't, good time to pick up some free XP. And if you have a lot of gems and somehow also haven't unlocked or fully maxed out Elementalist, you can technically mass buy it and get a fully maxed out Elementalist. Is this worth doing? Probably not. It'll cost you thousands upon thousands of gems. It can end up being anywhere from about 3,000 to 5,000. Almost 5,000 if you're doing like completely from scratch. So quite a bit of a gem investment that's probably worth skipping. However, it is a very strong hero class that is definitely worth having around. So if nothing else, get a little bit of free XP towards it and work on getting that closer to 70 and max at 100. And aside from that, this Friday we're going to be having an arena event. Unfortunately, arena event's still just as bad as it's always been. It hasn't been updated. So it's still, pretty much no loot. Worth doing maybe for 1 run so you get the gem keys. Maybe a few runs if you want to go all the way up to the orb, and beyond that, you definitely don't want to do it more beyond just getting the orb. Best way to kind of do it is just to kind of do 3 battles per day if you want to go min-max the total amount of loot, as you'll get 3 offers. You can actually get those 3 offers at any day that you do arena. However, you'll also get the added benefit of the slight extra rewards that you get during that duration. Overall, pretty skippable event with no unique rewards that is worth potentially skipping completely if you want to just not bother doing it. Anyways, as far as Soulforge is concerned, we do have ourselves a few good troops, most notably the 2 up here, Arachnian Weaver and Shubanu Vespera. I would say highest priority is Arachnian Weaver. So this thing is absolutely insane for Guild War and everything. It has one of the strongest trait setups in the entire game, having Stealthy plus Impervious, so it can't be targeted directly while having immune to almost everything, while having among one of the best summons in the entire game. 75% chance to summon a Web Spinner when an enemy dies. Web Spinner does triple damage to pretty much everything, as long as you don't have immune to web and or poison. So you can end up just getting such insane value. You simply just get a kill, go and get yourself a Web Spinner, and you already have triple damage to almost everything in the game, while having a bunch of immunities, while having Stealthy, while having a bunch of survivability. For whatever reason, there's 20 mana cost because they wanted to make it even stronger. It webs all enemies, making it one of the best webbers in the entire game, which makes their magic 0 for the entire duration and incapable of gaining additional magic. On top of that, it also does true damage to the last 2 enemies, making it one of the only few things that could effectively hit the later, or the back enemies of a team, as well as third slot, which is generally a slot that's considered pretty safe. However, even if they're stealthy third, you'll still be able to hit, since last 2 includes third, even if they have stealthy. And on top of all that, if that wasn't enough, it also gets to explode pretty much the entire board whenever it gets a kill. So you're normally looking to do a poke and then get into kill range. Most common combo for this is Life and Death Hero Weapon into Weaver. However, if you don't have that, you can pretty much run any kind of true damage option on your hero, combining it with Weaver, or just simply another true damage option in general, like a Beatrix. So you have not only Impervious, but also Cleanse, in case other shenanigans end up happening. So overall, among one of the strongest mythics in the entire game when it comes to win rate. It is a little bit slow for some things, like this is definitely not something you would run in Explore 12. However, it is pretty much a must required have for Guild Wars, or at least late game Guild Wars, as it is just so good at not losing, as it has so many factors going for it. So highly, highly advised if you don't have Arachne Weaver to get it this week. One other thing may be worth it. I personally don't use it, though. It's a really gimmicky troop that's fun to use, that is probably not worth using most of the time, but kind of fun to mess around with. It's a Shibanu Vespera. It's very random. It gives a bunch of random status effects to your allies, as well as creating a bunch of random gems. The most common way to end up running this is running it basically with a pure color team. And when I mean pure color team, I mean pure color team. For example, generally pure purple. All 3 of them can end up working, but pure purple due to Archmagus, +3, while also having a 50% mana start, tends to be the most common one for it. So the team tends to be something along the lines of like Thrall, hero using a pure purple weapon, ideally that one Doom one that does like full AoE into Doom Skull Convert, followed by Shibanu Vespera into like one other option. That one other option is either another damage source, or it can end up being another mana accumulator, or something even pure purple. Essentially, why you want so many pure colors on your team is it ends up rolling a lot of different... Basically, it creates gems of one of the random mana colors onto your troops. And it ends up doing this 3 times over. One of them you get to choose, so that will guarantee be purple or whatever color you're picking. And then the other 2 will be completely random. However, if those other 2 are random picking onto something that only has one color, for example, a Thrall, a hero using pure purple weapon, something similar to that, if they only have one color, it'll guarantee be that color, in this case, purple. So a lot of times what you'll end up doing is creating 18 or 27 of that color, which is very, very good, especially if it does it to 27. However, you also get unlucky sometimes, and sometimes you'll end up rolling 3 completely different colors. So it's a very random, risky troop to use, but it can do a lot of weird things, like get your entire team to 1,000 all stats, while getting pretty much full mana to your entire team, and doing both of those simultaneously. So it's okay. It's more of a gimmick than necessarily something you would use a lot, but it's a very fun gimmick. So maybe worth considering. Anyways, as far as weapons are concerned, get Ocea's Tome. If you're getting anything in Soulforge this week, pick up Ocea's Tome. It is absolutely insane. It is still, to this day, I would say probably the strongest, maybe not all-rounder, but in teams that it gets used, which are mostly elemental teams, as well as sometimes blue teams, but mostly elemental teams. In the teams that it gets used in, it is pretty much the best mana-accumulating weapon in the game. It explodes a bunch of gems, or 4 gems. And then for each blue ally and elemental ally, and this does stack, so if they're a blue elemental, you will end up getting 8 explode. This, for the very obvious reason, is going to be super strong, because worst comes to worst. Let's say the only thing on your team that was blue or elemental was your hero as elementalist. That alone is 8 explode. And if you had one other thing, let's say a Mirage Queen, that is also elemental, that is also a blue, that will now be 16 explodes. So just that alone, like Elementalist running it with the 50% mana start troop, you already have a full board clear, essentially. And normally a lot of teams that end up using this are running it pretty much, pure blue, pure elemental. So you're getting a lot of explodes, essentially guaranteed full board clear, while also still having a lot of synergy. So overall, pretty nice weapon. Unfortunately, that's a 14 mana cost. It does have Ice Storm too, which is kind of even more insane for the pure blue thing. It's just all around just really, really solid mana accumulation weapon. It's a lot like Mountain Crusher, but better, but only for blue teams, not brown. So yeah, it's really solid. Definitely make sure to get it. Basically every not every Mirage Queen team uses it, but a lot of Mirage Queen teams that use like 2 like really big mythics or something similar. It's just really, really good mana accumulation weapon to have. Make sure to get it. Aside from that, this was useless, right? Yeah. Aside from that, I believe most other things here were pretty much on a key by basically, if you want to get anything else, get it. Otherwise, you basically just want Ocea's Tome. It's the only thing really worthwhile to end up getting from the current Soulforge. Aside from that, yeah, make sure to finish out the campaign. This is the very last week that you can end up doing it. We just covered a video a little bit earlier going over the Onyx Giant. We also messed around with it on stream the other week when we ended up getting it. However, he's available from the standard pass as of today, so definitely make sure to get all your tasks done so you're up to 1,000, or if you have the bigger pass, all the way to 1,200, as this is the last week to go get all that done, and whatever you don't get done, you will end up missing out on that loot. So if you're on the paid side, definitely make sure to end up finishing that. Even if you're on the free-to-play side, you still get a decent amount of loot along the way, so still worth potentially end up clearing it out. Plus, you get those little bit of extra stats throughout the next rest of the week as well, so you can end up getting that. Anyways, guys, if you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. We'll have a teams video up very soon, just kind of going over all the teams throughout the week for all the various game modes. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, spooky Halloween, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye, everyone, and thanks for watching.